So is it good news? Is it bad news? Or is it no news?
I think there's more good news than bad news. It's the mortgage industry in 2025, so there's always some challenge, but definitely more good than bad this week anyway.
All right. So we're
So
talking with Owen Lee, and he gave us an update on the Breakfast Club. We thought we'd do it again here
mhm.
for those of you on the West Coast that 5:30 is a little too early in the morning to get on Breakfast Club, or so you think. But what you're missing out on is just enormous. We have a really good time on there and a lot of great information. But this morning you were giving us the Trigger Lead update, and so kind of fill
Yes.
us in here.
So some long awaited news, I would say. Last Thursday, the NBA trigger lead bill dropped on Thursday, April the 10th. It was introduced into Congress,
Okay.
and really with a lot of momentum. If you recall, the Mortgage Bankers Association had their advocacy conference at the beginning of last week. They had 550 people at the advocacy conference in Washington, D.C. We heard from a lot of lawmakers and HUD Secretary Scott Turner, and there is widespread support for our trigger lead bill. As of today, the day we're recording this, the bill has been introduced for a week. We have 34 co-sponsors in the Senate, Republicans and Democrats alike, of all different political stripes. And that's pretty gosh dang impressive to get over one-third of the Senate to co-sponsor a bill in a week. On the House side, we have 45 co-sponsors of the bill. I would guess that we would be racking up more numbers over there. We were close to half of Congress co-sponsoring the bill at the end of last year. So really strong right out of the gate. It's basically the same bill, a little bit of language change around opt-ins, but it's basically the same bill. I was up on Capitol Hill. I had 6 meetings with members of Congress earlier this month on April 8th and 9th, and every single one of them, Republicans and Democrats, supported the bill. So that was really, really nice to see on both sides of the chamber, the House and the Senate.
In
So
this particular bill that's being submitted, what exactly does that call for on trigger leads? Like, kind of give us the basic, like a
mhm.
30-second version of it.
Sure. So what it would do is it would ban the sale of trigger leads in all but a couple of instances. Past clients, if you get their permission, which every loan officer should have permission language in the application package. You're silly if you're not preparing for this. That's something you should put in your application package so you have informed consent of your borrower for the future, because we should all be working our CRMs and our past client databases, past prospect databases, all that kind of stuff. So that would be one. Number two is your current servicer can buy a trigger lead of your mortgage. And number three is a bank in which you have deposited money is also allowed, where you have an ongoing banking relationship. So we're going to take the whole entirety of the mortgage industry and condense it down to three. And so there are some people out there that want a straight ban, ban all trigger leads, and I've seen that. And while that has a certain appeal, it has a certain appeal to me too, because my day job is the CEO of an independent mortgage bank, Success Mortgage Partners, my most important job by far. And I would like the true elimination of trigger leads, but I don't think that's politically possible in Washington, D.C. I don't think, if you had depository banks line up against the bill, if you had mortgage servicers line up against the bill, I don't think you'd get it passed.
Yeah.
So Washington, D.C. is about the art of the possible. And I think the bill we have goes as far as it can and still get possible. And Carl, I know you have a ton of entrepreneurial loan officers that follow you. And if I were a betting person, I would put every single one of those entrepreneurial loan officers working with the right technology. I would put them up against the current mortgage servicer or certainly a depository bank any day of the week.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think well of those two categories. There's some extremely smart people there, extremely smart. But I think as a general whole, we're just a more entrepreneurial, hungry bunch.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not an intelligence thing. It's just a different mindset. Better hunters. I don't know if that's the right way to
Exactly.
say it, yeah, not better
Better
people.
hunters with a greater financial reward right in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. So, I can't see the bureaus just idly standing by though, and watching this happen. Because if they would eliminate trigger leads, I don't know what percentage of the bureau's income comes from that, but that would have to be, I don't know if devastating is the right word, but certainly impactful to these bureaus. I can't see them kind of standing idly by.
Yeah, I can't either. They certainly didn't stand idly by last December. They won last December. They really got in the ear of Patrick McHenry, who was the chair of the House Financial Services Committee in the last Congress. Patrick McHenry has since retired, and we have a new chair, French Hill, who is a co-sponsor of the bill in the last Congress. But no, I don't expect the credit bureaus to stand idly by. I expect them to fight in the center of the ring. And I think they're going to call for things like curbs on how those calls are handled. I think they might try and say that this is really for the benefit of the borrower because it's true capitalism and they get more calls. And, what happens is so far from that. Yeah. Anybody who's on the ground in the industry with a front row seat to what happens when this alarm bell goes off knows that that's not what happens. And I think we're making our voices heard. They are not going to go quietly. But it's one of those things, Carl, even if we experience another temporary defeat, they have to win every time. We only have to win once.
Yeah.
So we just got to keep pushing. Got to keep pushing the rock up the hill. This is 100% doable.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next.
We talked a little bit about this morning about AI is certainly in the news today, as I think it warrants it, just like the web was in the news, I don't know, 25 years ago, right? And we can see today it definitely warranted it. Do you see a time where maybe AI somehow on the local level would replace the bureaus
Did
or
you say AI? I'm not familiar with that.
yeah. I mean, can you see it replacing it, or would it be the bureaus putting it in place, and that's how they're helping with the scoring? What do you see with that?
So I think what you have to remember is what is a credit report, right? And just kind of take a step back for a second and think very basically about what a credit report is. Credit report is the accumulation of a large amount of data on an individual with the ability to pull a large amount of data on a large amount of individuals at any time. And that became the wheelhouse of the credit bureaus. And it was really quite revolutionary at the time. So a credit report is nothing other than an amalgamation or gathering of a large amount of data and spitting out some kind of synopsis. And I think if Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac were on this podcast, they would say that the credit score in and of itself does not drive the automated underwriting decision. that I know it seems to, but it's actually the data in the credit report that drives the decision. Certainly the credit score is used for the pricing of the loan, but not the actual decision.
Did
So
not know
then when
that.
you think about AI, what is AI? AI has the ability, you actually described it to me once as, when you Google search something, it'll get you a whole bunch of information. When you chat GPT search something, it'll give you the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between those two things, right? So do I think AI has a role to play in the accumulation of data and the analysis of data? 100%. But you have to understand the entire system right now, the pricing of the loan, the interest rate, the bond pools, the coupons, the selling of the loan into the secondary market or to Fannie Mae, the insuring of government loans, FHA loans, VA loans, RD loans, all require a credit score right now. So I think, AI is very exciting. I would just kind of hold your horses on that, just because, not because I think it doesn't have a role to play. I think it absolutely will have a role to play. I just think the technology is going to get there before the industry can adjust its processes to that new technology. So I think it's going to be a hot second. I think we have, the credit bureaus for a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, hey, one last thing on this part. So if you had to put an ETA on this bill, and I know that's a very difficult thing. Are we talking about something that'll happen in the next month or the next year, or this is a 3 year? Like, what kind of time frame? And I know nobody has an answer to that, but just
Right.
with your educated guess and with your experience, I know you're in Washington quite a bit for representing our industry and helping us out, and we really appreciate you doing that. What kind of time frame are we looking at here, possibly?
So I really think what's likely is maybe towards the very end of this year. I would think about it this way. As far as Congress goes, Republicans, Democrats, whatever, Congress is going to be dominated by the tax bill. The Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, a lot of those tax cuts are set to expire at the end of 2025. This is the Republican or President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And that's the tax bill. And I think that is going to dominate Washington, D.C. until it's done. I think current estimates are that might be done sometime in June.
Okay.
Then they're going to go on summer recess after that. So I'm thinking October to December. But there's a lot of people that feel that bill won't get done until the fall. And so I would say our window is 3 to 4 months after when the tax extension, or again, the big, beautiful bill, when that passes. So it's a little bit of a moving target as it relates to that.
All right. So this is not your want. This is not what you hope. If you were a betting man and you were to go to Vegas and said, "Hey, you're going to bet you've got $100,000 and you're going to bet yes it goes through or no it doesn't." Again, not your personal preference, but if you had to bet, what would you bet?
Yes.
I
I
think
think
so.
the momentum is on our side.
Yeah.
I think the credit bureaus who have an unbelievable amount of political knowledge and acumen pulled a rabbit out of the hat at the last minute last time. If I had to bet, now that bet might be 55 to 45. These are very smart folks that the industry is battling on this issue, and rich folks. But I think to use a sports metaphor, I think we're wearing the momentum hat. I think momentum is on our side.
I don't have the connections as you do, but just from the outside looking in, I completely agree. There's been way too much energy on this for a good amount of time that I think we're just waiting for the right time and place, and I think I think I agree with you. I think we might have reached it. So good stuff. All right, man. Cool.
A very, very cool thing. I just have to say this. It came to my mind. A very cool thing. The whole legislation for trigger leads idea came out of, there's a group inside of the Mortgage Bankers Association called the Residential Board of Governors, or RESBOG for short. Very dear friend of mine, a lady named Chrissy Ray from Tennessee. It was her idea to put a bill together. I was actually in that meeting, and she's a great lady. Unfortunately, she passed away from cancer about 6 months ago. And what a fitting tribute to her. The day this bill passes, I'm going to be thinking about Chrissy Ray, and a lot of people in the industry should be thinking about and thanking Chrissy Ray on the day this bill passes.
Well, brother, you're just a great person. It's an honor to work with you both here in the podcast, and I don't think it's any secret. Certainly something I'm very very proud of, that we work together over at the mortgage company, and it's just an absolute honor. And so appreciate what you're doing, brother, and appreciate you carrying the flag for us.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, yes, I appreciate it as well.
All right. So, hey, thanks for listening to the episode. Thanks again for all those great 5-star reviews. I really appreciate them. Helps the algorithm to get the message out. And we appreciate you forwarding this to all your friends. This is the #1 podcast measured by downloads and reviews in the industry. And it's not myself or Owen that made it happen. It's you, you fine people. And we really appreciate your involvement. And we appreciate your encouragement. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again.